Yeah, for those machines we should have a minimum distance to keep. Provided the chief inspector may permit the continued use of a machine installed before the commencement of this act, which does not comply with the requirement in the section on such conditions for ensuring safety as of think may fit to impose. So this Factories Act came in 1948. Prior to that, in case of any machines are there, we will contact the inspector of factories and he will suggest the required safety measures to be followed, because those machines are installed prior to the this section or this act have been implemented. ఎప్పుడైతే మనకి ఈ సెల్ఫ్ యాక్టింగ్ మిషన్స్ అయితే ఉన్నాయో వాటిని ఈ ఫ్యాక్టరీస్ యాక్ట్ రాకముందు ఇన్స్టాలేషన్స్ ఉంటే కనుక మనము ఇన్స్పెక్టర్ ఫ్యాక్టరీస్ని కన్సల్ట్ అయ్యి వాళ్ళు ఇచ్చిన రికమెండేషన్స్ అనేవి ఫాలో అవుతూ దీన్ని రన్ చేసుకోవచ్చు. Casing of new machinery. In all machineries driven by power and installed in any factory after the commencement of this act, every set screws, bolt, key, or any revolving shaft, spindle wheel, pinion shall be also shrunk, encased, or otherwise effectively guarded as to prevent the danger. It is as simple as that. All the casing of the new machineries, any machineries after the commencement of this act or this rule or this section, it has to be effectively guarded, as simple as that. Then prohibition of employment of women and children near the cotton openers. It is also simple. No woman or child shall be employed in any part of the factory for pressing cotton in which a cotton opener is at work. Cotton opener in the sense there will be a bundles or bales of cotton will come, then they will open it up as a, again they will open the bundles, provided that feed end of the cotton opener is in a room separated from the other delivery at the end of the partition extending to the roof or to such height as the inspector may in the further particular case specify in writing. Women and children may be employed on the side of the partition where the feed end is situated. Until unless if you are not taken written approval from the inspector factories, we are not supposed to allow any woman or young person near the cotton openers. Then a hoist and lift. This is also a very important section you will be handling once you joined as a safety officer, because hoist and lift. So in every factory, every hoist or lift shall be of good mechanical construction, sound material, and adequate strength, properly maintained, and shall be thoroughly examined by competent person at least once in every period of 6 months. Please make a note of it. Hoist and lift every period of 6 months, at least once in every period of 6 months. It has to be inspected, and register shall be maintained, and every hoist way and the lift way shall be sufficiently protected by the enclosure fitting with the gates. Hoist and lift of every such enclosure shall be constructed as to prevent any person or things from being trapped between any part of the hoist or lift and also any fixed structure moving part. It has to be completely secured to avoid any కాట్ బిట్ అంటే ఆ లిఫ్ట్కి మధ్యలో ఎవరు కూడాను ఇరుక్కుపోకుండా దాన్ని ప్రాపర్గా డిజైన్ చేయాలి. The maximum safe working load shall be plainly marked on every hoist or lift, and no load greater than the such load shall be carried out. అంటే మాక్సిమం కెపాసిటీ ఇఫ్ సి ఎనీ లిఫ్ట్ ఎక్కడైనా మనము ఏదైనా లిఫ్ట్ ఎక్కినప్పుడు అక్కడ రాసి ఉంటుంది 8 people 600 kg capacity, 13 people 2200 kg capacity. I'm just giving the random numbers. They will definitely give the number of people supposed to be travel in that lift, and apart from that they will suggest the number of or the amount, the kg which is designed. The cage of every hoist and lift used to carry out the portion shall be fitted within the gate, and also each side from which access is afforded to be landing. Then it is about the landing provisions which are there. Okay. Then these are the other provisions. You can go through it because it is not possible to go to line by line. Yeah. Then section 29, which is about the lifting machines, chains, ropes, and lifting tackles. Previously, we'll talk about the lifts, hoist and lift. It is about the lifting tools and tackles, like belts, chain slings, wire rope slings, web slings, endless slings, and then eye bolts, D shackles, and other tools which we use for lifting. In any factory, the following provision shall be compiled with in respect of every lifting machine other than the hoist and lift, every chain, rope, lifting tackle for the purpose of rising or lowering the persons, goods or materials. అంటే ఏంటి ఇది ఓన్లీ మెటీరియల్కే కాదు మనుషులకు కూడా. అంటే ఇంతకుముందు చెప్పినప్పుడు లిఫ్ట్ అంటే ఏంటి, మనుషులు ఎక్కిపోయేది కిందికి పైకి, సో మెటీరియల్ ఎక్కి పైకి పోయేది. అది కాకుండా దాంట్లో వాడే అదర్ మెటీరియల్స్ ఆర్ అదర్ టూల్స్ ఆర్ అదర్ థింగ్స్ ఏంటి, రోప్లు అవ్వచ్చు, వైర్ రోప్ అవ్వచ్చు, నైలన్ రోప్ అవ్వచ్చు, లేదా వెబ్ స్లింగ్స్ బెల్ట్లో అంటాము అవి అవ్వచ్చు, లేదా చైన్ స్లింగ్ అవ్వచ్చు, వైర్ రోప్ స్లింగ్ అవ్వచ్చు, ఎండ్లెస్ స్లింగ్స్ అవ్వచ్చు, ఏవైనా కూడాను ఉపయోగించే వాటిని మనము ఈ లిఫ్టింగ్ మిషన్స్ దీని కింద కన్సిడర్ చేస్తాము. ఆల్ దిస్ పార్ట్స్ ఇంక్లూడింగ్ ద వర్కింగ్ ఎయిర్ whether the fixed or movable or every lifting machine, every chain, rope, lifting tackle shall be in a good construction, sound material, adequate strength and free from defects, properly maintained, thoroughly examined by the person at least once in every period of 12 months. When you go for hoist and lift, it is 6 months. When you go for lifting tools and tackles and machines, it is once in 12 months. అంటే ఇది వచ్చేసి సంవత్సరానికి ఒకసారి, అంటే ఎవ్రీ 12 నెలలకు ఒకసారి దీన్ని ఎవరో కాంపిటెంట్ పర్సన్ అనే వాళ్ళు ఇన్స్పెక్ట్ చేయాలి. అదే హాయిస్ట్ లిఫ్ట్ అయితే ఒకసారి, అంటే 6 నెలలకు ఒకసారి వాళ్ళు క్యాలిబ్రేషన్ చేయాలి. And no lifting machine or no claim rope or lifting tackle shall be except for the purpose of test be loaded beyond the safe working load. అంటే ఒక టెస్ట్ చేసే టైంలో తప్పక మిగిలిన టైంలో వీటిని మోర్ దెన్ ద కెపాసిటీ, అంటే ఆ కెపాసిటీని మించి దాన్ని ఓవర్లోడ్ చేయకూడదు, విచ్ ఇస్ ప్లెయిన్లీ మార్క్డ్ వేర్ ఇన్ ద టుగెదర్ విత్ ద ఐడెంటిఫికేషన్ మార్క్ అండ్ డ్యూలీ ఎంటర్డ్ ఇన్ ద ప్రిస్క్రైబ్డ్ రిజిస్టర్ అండ్ ఆల్సో నాట్ practicable a table showing the safe working load for every kind of size lifting machine or chain rope lifting tackle use shall be displayed if బేసిక్గా ఏంటంటే వాటి మీదే ఉంటుంది వాటి కెపాసిటీ అనేది. ఒకవేళ లేని పరిస్థితుల్లో దాన్ని మనం ఒక టేబుల్ ఫార్మెట్లో వేసి మనం వర్క్ ప్లేస్లో డిస్ప్లే చేయాలి. అంటే విజువల్ రిప్రజెంటేషన్. ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఒక డీ సైకిల్ ఉంది, సో డీ సైకిల్ ఉన్నప్పుడు దీని కెపాసిటీ ఎంత, సో ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఇంకేదైనా వైర్ రోప్ స్లింగ్ ఉంది, దీని కెపాసిటీ ఎంత, అది ఎంతవరకు లిఫ్ట్ చేయగలదు, అంటే ఒక విజువల్ రిప్రజెంటేషన్ అనేది పెట్టుకోవాలి. And while any person is employed in the working or near the wheels or truck or traveling crane in a place where he would be liable to the struck by the crane or effective measure shall be taken, ensure that the crane does not approach within 6 meters of the place. It is about the hydra cranes which we are talking about. If you see examples of lifting machine and tackles, a lifting machine means crane, a crab, a winch, a tangle, pulley block in the sense chain pulley blocks, crab in the sense those are the especially they use in scrap uh, handling companies. They use this scrap. Lifting tackles means chain ropes, wire ropes, hooks, shackles, shovels, couplings, sockets, clamps, etc. will comes under lifting tackles. ఇవన్నీ కూడా మనకి లిఫ్టింగ్ ట్యాకల్స్ వస్తాయి. రోపులు, ఈ స్లింగ్స్, హుక్కులు, డీ షాకిల్స్ ఇవన్నీ కూడా దీంట్లో వచ్చేస్తాయి. Then revolving machinery. So if you see a revolving machinery అంటే ఏంటంటే every factory in which the purpose of grinding is carried out on there shall be a permanently fixed to or placed near each machinery in use a notice indicating the maximum safe working peripherals speed of every grinding stone, abrasive wheel or speed of shaft or spindle upon which the wheel is mounted, the diameter of the pulley upon shaft or spindle necessary to secure such safe working peripheral speed. అంటే ఏంటంటే రివాల్వింగ్ మిషనరీ ఏవైతే మనము గ్రైండింగ్ వీల్స్ యూజ్ చేస్తున్నామో అవి వాటి కెపాసిటీకి మించి యూజ్ చేయకూడదు. ఇట్ షుడ్ బి ద గ్రైండింగ్ వీల్ షుడ్ బి ఆల్వేస్ హయ్యర్ ది కెపాసిటీ ఆఫ్ ది మిషనరీ ఆర్పిఎం. ఇట్ షుడ్ నాట్ బి లెసర్, అంటే తక్కువ స్పీడ్ అయితే పెట్టుకోకూడదు, ఎక్కువ స్పీడ్ ఉన్న గ్రైండింగ్ వీల్ అనేది పెట్టుకోవాలి. An effective measure shall be taken in every factory to safe working peripheral speed of every revolving vessel, cage, basket or flywheel, pulley, disc or similar appliances. So here you can take the example of revolving vessel. What is the revolving vessel? Anybody can give? Pharmaceutical, any pharma company, revolving vessel. What kind of a revolving vessel you will have? It is very famous. Revolving vessels. No? It starts with C. The letter it starts with C. Any guess? It rotates in high RPMs, used to dryer the materials. Yes, centrifuge. So centrifuge also it will comes under revolving machinery because it runs in high RPM. We should not bypass the limit and we should not over speed the machine. Then pressure plants. In any factory, any plant or any machinery or any part of thereof is operated at a pressure above atmospheric pressure. Effective measures shall be taken to ensure that the safe working pressure of such plant or machinery or part is not exceeded. అంటే ఏదైతే మనకి ప్రెషర్ ప్లాంట్స్ ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఎలా చెప్పుకోవచ్చు, కంప్రెసర్స్ ఉన్నాయి, వీటన్నింటినీ కూడాను ఎక్కువ ప్రెషర్ మనం వాటిని గురి చేయకూడదు. The state government may make the rules providing the examination testing of the plant and machinery, such as is referred to be subsection 1, and also prescribing such other safety measures in relation thereby its opinion necessary of the factories. I think the pressure plants also shall be inspected once in 12 months by the competent person. Then floors and stairs. So it is a general requirement. All the floors, steps, passageways, gangways shall be sound in construction. It has to be maintained in a good working order. Also, we should provide proper ventilation, illumination, lighting near those facilities. Then pits and sumps opening in the floors. In every factory, fixed vessels like some tank pits opening in the ground or floors by reason of its depth, situation, construction, or contents source of danger shall be either securely covered or securely fenced. In case of any pit sums which are there, it has to be properly maintained. అంటే ఎక్కడైతే గుంతలు ఓపెనింగ్స్ కల్వర్ట్లు లేదంటే ట్యాంకులు అండర్ గ్రౌండ్ ట్యాంకులు ఉంటాయో అంటే వాటి నేచర్ వల్ల అంటే అవి నెగిటివ్ హైట్స్ గుంతల్లాగా ఉండటం వల్ల ఏమన్నా ప్రమాదం జరుగుతుంది కాబట్టి వాటిని ప్రాపర్ కవర్ ప్లేట్స్ పెట్టము లేదంటే ఫెన్సింగ్ వేసి ఉంచాలి. Then excessive weights. No person shall be employed in any factory to lift, carry, or move any load so heavy as to like to cause injury to him. And the maximum working loads, the state governments will define the maximum working loads. If I'm not wrong, I think 35 kg for or 50 kg for male and 35 kg for female. Then production of ice. This is another legal requirement where the goggles to be provided by the employer to the all the workers who are working or whose work is going to affect or work is unsafe to their eyes. In respect of such manufacturing process carried on in any factory may be prescribed or being a process which involves a risk of injury to the eyes from particles or the fragments thrown off in the course of process, risk to the eyes by reason of exposure to excessive light. In the sense, even the welding light also considering as excessive light. A suitable goggle shall be provided to protect the persons employed on immediate vicinity of the process. ఎక్కడైతే మనకి risk of injury to the eyes from the particles or the fragments thrown out of the process. Thrown out of the process అంటే ఏంటంటే మనం చేసే పని వల్ల యాక్టివిటీ వల్ల ఆ పార్టికల్స్ కానీ చిన్న చిన్న చిప్స్ కానీ డస్ట్ కానీ ఎగిరిపడి మనకి కళ్ళకి ప్రమాదం జరిగే అవకాశాలు ఉంటే వాటి చోట దాంతో పాటుగా హై ఇంటెన్సిటీ ఆఫ్ లైట్ చోట ఎక్కడైతే పని జరుగుతుందో వాళ్ళకి మనం ఈ ఐ ప్రొటెక్షన్ ఆఫ్ ఐస్ అనేది గాగుల్స్ అనేది ఇవ్వాలి. Then precautions against the dangerous fumes and gases. No person shall be required or allowed to enter any chamber, tank, vat, pit, pipe, flue, or any other confined space in every factory in which the gas or fume or vapor dust is likely to be present in such extent as involves the risk of persons being overcoming by unless it is provided a manhole of adequate size and also other effective means of egress. And no person shall be required to allow to enter any confined space as it is required in subsection 1 until all practicable measures have been taken to remove any gas, fume, vapor, dust which may be present so as to bring its level within the permissible limits to prevent the ingress or such gases, fumes or vapor, dust and fumes. అంటే ఏంటంటే అంటిల్ అన్లెస్ మనము అందులో ఉండే ప్రమాదకరమైన గ్యాసుల్ని వేపర్ని యాక్సెప్టబుల్ లెవెల్స్లోకి తీసుకొచ్చేంత వరకు లేదంటే తగ్గించే వరకు ఎవరు కూడాను ఆ కన్ఫైన్డ్ స్పేస్లోకి దిగడానికి వీల్లేదు. యాజ్ సింపుల్ యాజ్ సచ్. ఓకే. The precautions regarding the use of portable electric light is also no portable electric light or any other electric appliances of voltage exceeding 24 volts shall be permitted for the use inside any chamber, tank, vat, pit, or pipes, flue, or other confined spaces unless adequate safety devices are provided. అంటే 24 volts కంటే ఎక్కువ కెపాసిటీ ఉన్న లైట్లు మనం కన్ఫైన్డ్ స్పేస్లలో వాడకూడదు. ఎందుకంటే హీట్ ఎక్కువ అయ్యి అక్కడ మనకి ఏమైనా ప్రమాదం జరిగే అవకాశాలు ఉంటాయి కాబట్టి అంతకు మించి ఎక్కువ వోల్టేజ్ ఉన్న ఎలక్ట్రిక్ లైట్స్ని మనం యూజ్ చేయకూడదు. ఎక్స్ప్లోసివ్ ఆర్ ఇన్ఫ్లేమబుల్ డస్ట్ wherein a factory any manufacturing process produce dust, gas, or fumes or vapors of such a character and such extent likely to be explode or ignite. All applicable measures shall be taken to prevent such explosions. ఎక్కడైతే మనకి ఎక్స్ప్లోసివ్ కైండ్ ఆఫ్ డస్ట్ ఆర్ గ్యాసెస్ జరిగే ప్రాంతాలు అంటే పనిచేస్తూ ఉంటాయో in those cases we are not we are supposed to take those kind of precautions to avoid ignition or explosion. Then precautions in case of fire. సో ఏదైనా అగ్ని ప్రమాదం జరిగినప్పుడు ఎటువంటి ప్రికాషన్స్ తీసుకుని ఉండాలి అంటే ముందే ఎటువంటి కంట్రోల్స్ అనేవి పెట్టుకొని ఉండాలి. ఇన్ ఎవ్రీ ఫ్యాక్టరీ ఆల్ ప్రాక్టికబుల్ మెషర్స్ షాల్ బి taken to prevent outbreak of fire and its spread both internally and externally as to provide maintain safe means of escape for all the persons in the event of fire. Safe means of escape in the sense emergency exits. We have to provide proper emergency exits for the people to escape from the immediate vicinity in case of any fire accident happens. The effective measures shall be taken to ensure that is every factory all the workers are familiar with the means of escape in the case of fire and adequately trained. So it is not about only giving the providing the fire emergency exits. It is mean that people should know about that emergency exit, and they should get proper training. And power to require specification to defective parts, test test of stability. It is about the inspector of any building, a part of the building, a part of the base of machinery. It has to get the stability certificate from the inspector of factories. Then safety building and machinery. It appears in the inspector that any building or part of the building or any waste, machinery or plant or in a factory such condition that the dangerous to human life, safety, or he may serve the occupier manager both the factory order writing in specifying measures in the opinions to adapt the requiring carrying out of such inspection, the use of building part of the building or base of machinery of the building, the factory involves immediate danger. అంటే ఏవైతే మిషనరీస్ ఉన్నాయో అవి ఏమన్నా పాత పడిపోయినవి లేదంటే పాత ఎక్విప్మెంట్స్ అవి ఆపరేట్ చేసడానికి ఆపరేషన్ కండిషన్ లేవు ఏమైనా వాటి వల్ల ప్రమాదం ఉంది అంటే we have to inform to the inspector of factories. That maintenance of building, it is 40A. If it appears to the inspector that any building or any part of the building in a factory is such state of disappear are likely to lead to conditions of detrimental to health and welfare of the workers. He served the occupier manager both the factory in order to writing specifying measures which his opinion should be taken requiring same carried out before such date is prescribed. So in case of any building stability certificates or is there any life of the building which is going to end, we have to put inform to the inspector of factories for such conditions prior to that. And safety officer, which is 40B, why we have to have safety officer in a factory? Because of this section, the company has to appoint a safety officer where 1000 workers and more ordinary employees. అంటే ఎక్కడైతే మనకి 1000 అండ్ ప్లస్ వర్కర్స్ ఉంటారో అక్కడ ఒక సేఫ్టీ ఆఫీసర్ అనేవాడు ఉండాలి. వేర్ ఇన్ ద ఒపీనియన్ ఆఫ్ స్టేట్ గవర్నమెంట్ ఎనీ మ్యానుఫ్యాక్చరింగ్ ప్రాసెస్ or operation is carried on which process or operation involves any risk of bodily injury, poisoning or diseases or any other hazard to health to persons employed in the factory, the occupier shall, if it is so required by the state government by notification in the official gazette. Sometimes what will happen, maybe the factory which is small in size, but it is having high risk which is very danger. In such case, based on the local state government or inspector of factories, they can suggest us, even though if it is 250 or 200 or 100 employees also, the safety officer has to be appointed. And the duties and qualification of the conditions of the safety officer shall be in such may be prescribed by the state government. So, అంటే సేఫ్టీ ఆఫీసర్కి కావాల్సిన క్వాలిఫికేషన్ వాళ్ళ డ్యూటీస్ అనేవి మనకి ఏపీ ఫ్యాక్టరీస్ రూల్స్ కానీ స్టేట్ స్పెసిఫిక్ ఫ్యాక్టరీస్ రూల్స్లో మనం చూడొచ్చు. Then power to make supplement rules. This is not important. You need not to worry. Then chapter 4A, which is provisions relating to the hazardous process. So in the yesterday's class, we have seen what is mean by hazardous process. This complete chapter 4A is going to talk about those hazardous process. What kind of requirements to be followed by these hazardous processes or factories. The state government may, for the purposes of uh, advising to consider application for grant permission for the installation location of a factory involving hazardous process or the expansion of such factory, appoint site appraisal committee constituents. So 41A is talking about the site appraisal committee. Whenever you are going to install any hazardous process, prior to the installation, a committee will be formed. A committee will be formed to assess the location or the proposed location of the factory to give a report to the Central Pollution Control Board. Maybe here the factories will be there, or the collectors may be involved, and also local inspector of factories people will be involved, and also PCB people and State Pollution Control Board and Central Pollution Control Board people will be there, and Labor Department will be there. All kinds of people will be involved in this site appraisal committee. Here, a chief inspector, state who has shall be as chairman, and respective central board of PCB as be also a member, and the PCB a representative from the Central Pollution Control Board and air, and a representative from the state board appointed under Section A of water, then a representative from the again from the PCB and from the environmental side, and one meteorological department, and also from the an expert in the field of occupational health and safety, and town planning team. All will be part of this site appraisal committee. They will going to assess the proposed area, then they will submit a report for installation of such industry in that proposed location. Then 41B, compulsory disclosure of information by the occupier. So with respect to this hazardous process, అంటే ఈ hazardous process కి సంబంధించి ఎలాంటి పరమైన వివరణ లేదంటే ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ అనేది ఆక్యుపైర్ అనే వాళ్ళు ఇవ్వాలి. నెంబర్ వన్, the occupier of every factory involved in a hazardous process shall disclose in a manner prescribed all the information regarding the dangers, including health hazards, measures to overcome such hazards arising from exposure to handling of materials, substances, manufacturing, ట్రాన్స్పోర్టేషన్, స్టోరేజ్, అదర్ ప్రాసెస్. అంటే ఏవైతే ఈ ఫ్యాక్టరీలో ఉండే మెటీరియల్ గురించి, వాటి వాడకం గురించి, ఆ మెటీరియల్ ట్రాన్స్పోర్టేషన్ గురించి, హ్యాండిల్ చేయడం గురించి, దానికి ఏమైనా ఎక్స్పోజ్ అయితే వచ్చే ప్రమాదాల గురించి, అన్నిటి గురించి సంబంధించిన ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ అనేది ఆక్యుపైర్ అయినవాడు ఈ ఇన్స్పెక్టర్ ఆఫ్ ఫ్యాక్టరీస్కి ఇవ్వాలి. ద ఆక్యుపైర్ షల్ at the time of registering the factory involving hazardous process lay down a detailed policy with respect to the health and safety. So similar way other manufacturing process, ఈ హజార్డస్ ప్రాసెస్లో ఎవరైతే ఉన్నారో వాళ్ళు కూడాను ఒక సేఫ్టీ పాలసీ అనేది రాసుకోవాలి. Then information furnished under section 1 shall be accurate information as the quantity, specifications and other characteristics of the waste and also manner of their disposal. So waste disposal కూడాను they should have proper provisions in place. And every occupier shall be approval of chief inspector draw up a site emergency plan, like on-site emergency plan and off-site emergency plan. You should be ready with the site emergency plan and detailed disaster control. What kind of disaster control? Explosions or any major gas leaks, poisonous gas leak, fire hazards, etc. Based on the disaster management plan should be there, and he has to submit it. Okay. And then 41C, specific responsibility of occupier in relation to hazardous process. So here also there are a few more responsibilities with respect to the occupiers. We'll see what they are. Every occupier of the factory involving any hazardous process shall maintain accurate and up-to-date health records, or as the case of maybe medical records of the workers in every factory who are exposed to or any chemical, toxic or any other harmful substances which are manufactured, stored, handled or transported, and shall be records shall be accessible to the workers subjected to such conditions as may be prescribed. And appoint persons who possesses a qualification experience in the handling of hazardous substances, competent to supervise such as handling with the factory, and provide a working place for all necessary facilities for protecting workers in the manner prescribed. So we have to have up-to-date health records of the employees who are working, and also we have to appoint the qualified and experienced hazardous substance handler or competent to supervise the uh, the operations or the process which is carrying on, and provide any questions or areas or qualification or experience of the person appointed, and the decision of chief inspector shall be final, and provide the medical examination of every worker before such worker is assigned. So you see any hazardous process before he joins, he has to undergo to the medical examination, and while continuing the job he has to cease to work in such a job or interval not exceeding the 12 months in such a manner may be prescribed. That's why we do any manufacturing process or any activity while performing or while appointment, they ask us to go through the medical examination, or else they may claim that occupational health which has happened after joining in a new company, even though they have that effect on previous companies. And power of central government in the point of inquiry committee, it is simple that in case of any issues happened in this facility, the central government have power to have an inquiry committee to investigate the cases. Then 41E emergency standards, where the central government is satisfied and the no standards of safety have been prescribed in the respect of hazardous process, the class of hazardous process, the standard prescribed, the Director General of Factories are advised. The emergency standards laid down under subsection 1 shall be until incorporated in the rules made under this act and enforceable have same effect if they had been incorporated in the rules and made under this rules. So emergency standards should be implemented on proper manner. Then permissible limits of exposure of chemicals or toxic substances. Here also the maximum permissible thresholds or exposures of the chemicals, toxic substances in the manufacturing process in any factory shall be the value indicating in a second schedule. If you see in the, we have three schedules. In the second schedule, there will have the permissible exposure limits or threshold TLVs, threshold limit values or PELs, permissible exposure limits. It has to be known. We have to maintain such conditions in the workplace. Then workers' participation in safety management. This is the legal requirement of the safety committee meeting. So, what is the proportion of safety committee meeting? Any idea? Proportion of safety committee meeting. The occupiers or every occupier factory where the hazardous process takes place, the hazardous substances are used or handled, set up a safety committee consisting of equal number of representatives of workers and management. It's simple that equal number of participation of the worker side as well as management side. Yes, 50-50. 50 వచ్చేసి మనకి 50% workers,